Hello, this is Lisa Russick with the podcast We're All Psychic. And yes, I still think we're all psychic. I just recorded like half this podcast with my cursor hovering over the record button, but I forgot to hit record. Yes, I still think we're all psychic. And that was just the mind going, whoo, practice, maybe. I don't know, listeners. But this podcast is Are We All Psychic? I mean, really, it's just kind of summarizing what this podcast is about for anyone who's new or anyone who does not want to listen to 6 years of podcasts to kind of catch up and figure out what this podcast is all about. So I started this podcast for the same reason that I still do it and some more reasons. I started it to interact with people. I really want to do interviews and interact with people about the topic of, metaphysics, energy works, psychic. And then I also wanted to hopefully reach out and find a community of people I could talk to about this stuff because I was very lonely about that. In Alabama, I didn't have hardly anybody I could talk to about this stuff and who understood it. Akasha was there, and she always understood because she's like super magical. Time with Akasha is a time warp. You'll find out if you ever spend time with her. But what grew was that I wanted to learn. I learned from every guest, and that was the best part. It really is. And I didn't expect that, but that was my favorite part of everything is so far, and still probably will be. So, I mean, I started it in 2019 and it's going now. And we're going into season 10. Misty Lore joined me in 2020, and then she stopped being the co-host in 2025, and probably around January or February. Gosh, Einstein. And Donna Murphy is now going to be the co-host. She's done tons of podcasts with me and Missy. And she's going to be the new co-host starting already. Donna, I love you. Oh, sorry. And let's see. What else would we would like to tell you about? So what surprises me the most about this podcast is that it worked. It happened. It's like there were just a series of fortunate events, not unfortunate. Maybe not. Never know until the end, though, do you? But there were a series of fortunate events that led this podcast to be able to get guests. And I still have so many guests. I just can't stand it. I love bringing on guests. And I think the other thing that surprised me is how many people, almost everybody says yes. There's some maybes and I don't knows and a no, but, or I'm not sure, or I haven't figured it out yet. I'm still looking. Most of the people said yes, though, and they were the working psychics mostly. And another thing that surprised me is that my friend Joni from middle school was on the podcast. I really surprised me that she would do it. She asked, she didn't ask. She was just like, well, she was just curious about it. And I asked her if she wanted to be a guest. And she's like, yeah, that'd be fun. And I was just like, wow. Okay, Einstein, you're making this a roller coaster for the watchers on YouTube and Spotify. So one of the themes that really repeated itself over and over again for me in all over podcast after podcast is the terminology. Like people from the beginning, some people didn't have a problem with psychic, but as time went by, they don't like that word. It's a bad word. It had so many connotations for people. They think scammers, they think Miss Cleo, some people say, or I've always liked the word psychic because I think of Sylvia Brown and I think of James Von Prague and I think of like Edgar Casey and, people like that. It's like our early psychologists, I think, were probably psychics to have figured out all the things they did, like Carl Jung. And what else keeps repeating for me is just the genuine kindness of the guests. So many of them offer the listeners and watchers, all of you guys, something for free. They offer me something, a reading. They do their techniques on me and they work. I'll always love to ask them for a demonstration. That's not always on the papers. I'm always like, hey, let's do a demonstration to just about everybody. And when they do it, I'm like, yeah. And it's the best part. It's like so much fun and it's surprising. It's fun. And they're just so giving with that. And they're all good. They're all good at what they do. And they really genuinely seem to want to heal. That's the repetition. They all want to heal. They all believe we're all psychic. And that's what they are here for, is to help people transition into their energetic bodies of whatever that might be. I guess sometimes if like for the skeptics, what people don't always understand about intuition. Maybe that comes up in the podcast sometimes. What people don't understand about it is it's not a bad word. It's intuition is the basic word, I think, for all of it. Psychic, metaphysical, empath. I mean, intuition's at the root of it, and everyone has intuition. So I think that's like most of the answers where they went to the intuition answer when I asked the question, do you think we're all psychic? They would say yes, because of our intuition doing it. Yes, we are all psychic. Do you think we're all psychic? And then I'm like, yes, I think we're all psychic. So, so I think they think that their intuition is shut down or they don't have good intuition, but their intuition's on fire and they just don't know how they are doing what they're doing that's different from other people because they're so used to being themselves. And they don't know that maybe when they are at an amusement park and they just feel like sitting on the bench and crying, they're just full of empathy and all the scared, screaming kids that are getting off the flumes, and that's their empathy picking that up. So over time, my own understanding of psychic abilities and energy work and witchcraft and magic and all this stuff did change. My ideas did change. Not really necessarily so much my belief systems, but let's say they expanded. I believe in things and I saw things, I've seen things and learned things and found out things and doing this podcast, just like, and it just gets weirder. It just gets weirder and I love it so much. And the guests bring that to me and they sometimes leave behind a little signature energy and I'll explore it. If there's a spirit lingering or something, like, hey, who are you? What are you doing here? Maybe. And usually it's a spirit guide of theirs or mine or someone's or an entity of some sort that just wants to be like, hey, when you edit that, can you blah, 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 something like that. It's just kind of cool. So my understanding of like communicating with guides changed a lot. My understanding of communicating with other psychics changed a lot. For example, I did one podcast with someone, I can't remember her name right. It was the Psychic Detective podcast. And after the podcast, she says, well, did you have an orange cat? And I was like, yeah, it's Morgana. I said, she's right here. She's sitting right here. She's my spirit guide. And she's like, long-haired orange cat. And I said, yeah, she's right here. Look, and she's looking at you. She's looking at me. And she's like, I see that cat. I see that cat. And she's a psychic detective and she saw spirits and stuff all the time. So it was really weird for me that she was so freaked out by seeing Morgana. And I did send her Morgana's picture. And she's like, that's the cat I saw. So like all kinds of weird things happen. I didn't tell her about Morgana. And she didn't listen to the podcast. And I don't think I really talked about Morgana that much by then because that was still the second season. She was from Everclear, I do believe. And so like and other things like with the audio going crazy. And when Misty heard like devils talking to her and her head moans and oh my goodness, we had so many crazy things happen. And she said she heard a mocking, laughing voice, like mocking me and mocking the podcast. And then that was, I think, I don't remember whose podcast that was during. I think it was Alana. And Alan and I talked about it. And there were some strange things in the audio, but nothing like that. In Alana's podcast, there were always strange things with the audio. Something always was strange. Same with Angelina. Angelina's podcast always had something going on. And that's a recurring thing in the podcast, tech difficulties, but that's just technology too. But there's a little ghost in the machine when you do a psychic podcast. So they make things happen. See, like that computer just moved all by itself, Einstein. So this is just like a really short podcast to let you know, what are you listening to? You're listening to We're All Psychic. I'm the host. Donna Murphy is my co-host. And what we do is we ask the question to all our guests, do you think we're all psychic? And they answer it. And then we go from there. And a lot of people, they're writers, they're in the field. Some people are just total strangers that I met on the street in Nashville. It's great. I love those. This is my favorite. It's people I don't know, like just total strangers that don't, really that have their own opinion and stuff like that. I've learned a lot from people who aren't in the field, just as much as I have learned from people who are in the field. And I've also do some lessons and stuff like that in the past. I might continue to do that. Right now, Donna and I are just going to record on Thursdays, and we might do other things. Who knows? We might to get together before New Year's and give you a little New Year's podcast if we can, or Christmas. Probably not Christmas, maybe New Year's. But because I've got this really sparkly bow tie and I'm just dying to wear it for New Year's. I got two of them. I meant to buy one on Temu and I accidentally got two. But like, okay, if one breaks, I'll have another one. So listeners and watchers, I just want you to know that it's just great that you even checked this out. This happened. And Everclear is my sponsor. I love you, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app and website where you can get guidance and clarity you need to get the life you deserve. Psychics and empaths and astrologers and tarot readers and really good, well-meaning people who want you to be happy. And lastly, I want to thank Donna. I want to thank you if you watch this from home. And you are the best. I'm so glad you said yes. And listeners, watchers, I love you. May you have a wonderful time wherever you may be, whatever hour it may be. If it's 3 a.m, 6 a.m, 7 a.m, it's nowhere near 8 a.m. Oh my gosh. It's actually 10:25 a.m. here right now. And today, I do believe, is the real solstice, December 19th. But we celebrate the solstice on the 21st, but the new moon is today. So I'm going to get this posted for you guys for the solstice. And thank you so much for always watching and listening. Thank you so much, watchers and listeners. I love you so much. Peace out.